Hey, what's up, everyone? This week's personal branding case study is on financial advisor, author, and host Suze Orman. Check it out. Hey, what's up? Welcome to Brands on Brands. I'm Brandon Birkmeyer, your personal branding coach, and I believe that building a brand that matters is the only way for a person to thrive. We are diving into a personal branding case study today to give you another example of someone who's come up, built their personal brand, and found success. Before we dive into it, if you are building your personal brand and you want content for that brand, best way to do that is with a podcast. If you want your free podcasting starter kit, go to brandsonbrands.com/starter kit to check that out. Now, let's get into our episode today. Suze Orman. Suze is an American financial advisor, expert, author, and podcast host. In 1987, she founded the Suze Orman Financial Group and has worked as a financial advisor, gaining notability with the Suze Orman Show, which ran on CNBC from 2002 to 2015. Orman has written 10 consecutive New York Times bestsellers about personal finance. And if you've ever seen it, you know her personal style of being very human, very authentic, definitely resonates. And that's how she became one of the top financial gurus out there. She was named twice to the Time 100 list of influential people, has won 2 Emmy Awards and 8 Gracie Awards. She's written, co-produced, and hosted 9 PBS specials and has appeared on multiple additional television shows. Suze Orman has been a guest on The Oprah Winfrey Show approximately 29 times and Larry King Live over 30 times. She's currently the podcast host of Suze Orman Women and Money podcast. And we're going to dive into that a little bit. So looking back into her story here, what you may not know is after school, Suze moved out to California and decided to, first she was waitressing and then she decided she wanted to start her own restaurant. And as the story goes, she gathered up some money, about $50,000, and put it into a money market account, which ended up losing all her money because it was managed poorly by the person running it, not her, the person that they had hired, who was not, it was a little shady, and then had to figure out where to go from there. And what does she do? Well, instead of, feeling bad for herself, Suze decides to go and get a job at Merrill Lynch because she figures if this person who, lost all her money can do this job, why can't she do it better? She goes, gets the job, I'm sure under a lot of scrutiny with people that did not think she could do the job. She gets it, does it well. And while she's there, she learns a little bit about, investing and realizes that her money had been spent inappropriately with an inappropriate strategy and ends up suing the company, wins that case. And, I would say this actually doesn't win the case. They settle, she gets her money back, and then goes on to much success, obviously, in the financial industry. From there, she ended up starting her own company, her own financial investment advice group. And there's 2 things that get interesting. Well, one is I want you to realize that to become an expert, to become a thought leader in her space, obviously she had to acquire the skill first. So putting in that time and effort, like a lot of you have, looking at your history, looking at the resume you've built, there's experience there, right? It takes experience to build expertise. And she was invested in being the best at her particular topic. And as she got into it and became educated, became experienced, and then started her own company, she now had to figure out how to promote herself and build her own business. And this is the second lesson, right? Because as soon as she got into it, she did 2 things. One is she published her own, I'd say it's like an ebook, her own booklet, The Facts on Single Premium Whole Life, which compared single premium whole life, universal life, and single premium deferred annuities. Let's say that 10 times fast. And she distributed copies of that booklet free to anyone who requested it. And so think about this. She published a useful, helpful guide to the people exactly in her target market. And then she went on to, within that space, go on and promote herself over and over again by writing actual books, right? She realized if I want to be a guru in this space, I need to put my money where my mouth is and write some books, get my knowledge out there. And this is back in 1995 when her first book came out called You've Earned It, Don't Lose It. And from then on, she wrote a book every couple years, and each one got more and more successful. Now, think about this. If you're in the business of thought leadership, of coaching, of personal brand service of some sort, building some credibility through authority driving mediums like a book, like a podcast, like some kind of show, anything where your content and your perspective is shared is a stepping stone to future success, right? You build it once and then it lives with you, and you can continue to build and compound on top of that. And that's what she did. Each book saw more and more success to the point where she had opportunities then to go and promote it beyond books to, going on book tours, but also like going on TV shows, going on PBS, going on QVC, and being able to pitch her services and products to people via those mediums, right? So the self-publishing and published books leads to more opportunities to get herself into bigger audiences. And then eventually those books and the wild success of them turns into her being able to get on her own show, the Suze Orman Show, on CNBC in 2002, right? And it goes on and on from there, and she becomes the guru we all know and love today. But for me, the interesting thing is the journey a lot of us are on right now is, you've built your experience in corporate. If you haven't, that's where you start. But if you built your experience in corporate, figuring out when you're going to leave and build the business on your own, and then how you're going to hustle to build credibility for that business, whether it's obviously through client work, but also through thought leadership and expertise and creating content and putting it out on platforms that people can find it. That's the recipe that worked for Suze Orman. That's the recipe that continues to work to this day. But as the mediums change, your content platforms change as well. Content is still the key. You being a thought leader in your space is still the key, but you have to find the platforms that work for you and continue to create videos, written word, pictures, audio, whatever it takes to get your voice out there. That's my lesson for today. Get your voice out there. And again, if you guys are looking to start your own podcast, which I think is the easiest way to get your voice out there and get your voice heard, go to brandsonbrands.com/starter kit for your free podcasting starter kit. And as always, I hope you enjoyed these lessons today, and I will catch you next time. Brands on Brands.